Good morning and welcome to another episode of Lovin Daily. I hope everyone out there is having a good Monday. I'm Julian Bonnici. Joining me today is Yannick Parch. Our headlines are as follows. Our first stories got to do with the tragic death of a man in India and how his widow and adopted baby returned back to Malta. The second's got to do with Glenn Carabot, the police sergeant who's been accused of rape, now testing positive for cocaine. The third story, moving into a bit COVID territory, is a story about over 100 youths being fined after police break up 2 hidden Pembroke gatherings. The fourth is about protests in Sliema over the government's mandated wearing of masks. And we're going to close the story off about a little spot in Gargour that managed to get its goldfish pond saved following public pressure. At the end of the episode, we've got a really interesting interview. It's with Ruth Debono. She's the president of the ME, CFS and the Fibromyalgia Alliance. It's going to be a really interesting interview all about this, hidden invisible condition that actually so many people are suffering with every single day. Jan, you want to kick us off?
Yes, on to our first story. The widow and the newly adopted baby of the Maltese man who died after contracting COVID-19 in India arrived in Malta yesterday. 47-year-old Ivan Barbara died unfortunately on Friday, moments before he was leaving India for Malta, on an air ambulance chartered by the health ministry to bring him back. Barbara and his wife were in India to adopt a baby girl when both of them contracted COVID. Unfortunately, while the wife recovered relatively quickly, Barbara's condition deteriorated and a decision was made for him to be brought to Malta. As we know, India is currently going through a surge of new cases, and there's a lack of hospital beds and oxygen in their hospitals. Their operation wasn't a simple one, however, given the delicate nature of transferring him over to Malta. Unfortunately, Barbara died moments before he was about to board the air ambulance on Friday. He was cremated shortly after his death, and his remains were also returned to Malta yesterday. Since the death, tributes have been pouring in to a man described as a kind and gentle soul, and the tributes have been pouring in from all across Maltese society.
Yeah, really, really tragic, story. If there's one thing maybe to take about it, at least what's happening in India, I guess it's a timely reminder of what happens when a healthcare system is completely overburdened by a virus, right? So even though deaths have remained relatively low in Malta, just look at India and remember what happened in Italy last year over what happens when things spiral out of control. Condolences to his friends, his family, everyone who knew him. On to our next story, Glenn Carabot, the police sergeant, accused of sexually abusing a burglary victim, is in the news once again after he tested positive for cocaine. Glenn Carabot failed the test while in custody at the Corradino Correctional Facility. He's been there ever since his arrest and charge with the heinous accusations, really. Carabot first went into prison about 2 weeks ago. This was after, on 16th April, he went to a woman's house who was a victim of the burglary, and he ended up sexually assaulting her and allegedly even taking footage. The case itself has actually gotten a lot of red flags. Carabot went to the person's house alone when they're always meant to go in pairs, and he actually never even reported the crime. Carabot has so far denied the claims. However, I think we just have to say, what a damaging story, right, for Malta's police force, and maybe a bit of an indication of how we have to improve the requirements and the level of police officers in Malta. Unfortunately, for many, the pay is far too low. It doesn't attract enough people. The good ones tend to leave to legal professions, and we really need to do as much as we can to improve our enforcement officers.
Yeah, it doesn't help. We keep getting these stories of sort of leaks from the police and all the kind of developments of the last couple of years. One would hope that at least people can start to gain faith in the police officers that actually go to their homes to help them out when they need it. To our next story, one in fact where the police have been praised for their action. More than 100 youths have been fined after the police broke up 2 illegal gatherings in Pembroke over the weekend. At around 3 a.m. on Saturday, police officers were informed of a large gathering in a Natura 2000 site in Pembroke. A number of police cars descended upon the area. And in fact, many of those present attempted to flee. However, the police managed to dish out roughly 80 fines. You'd think that getting fined once would be enough to drive home the message, but apparently not. Less than 24 hours later, the police were called back to the same place, again finding a number of people gathered together drinking in the early hours of the morning. 35 people were this time fined, though one of the students, one of those present, a French student, is believed to have even attacked one of the police officers. He fled the scene but was eventually apprehended by the police. He's being held in the police lockup in Floriana and is expected to be charged again in the coming days. Residents who spoke to Lovin Malta said that the gatherings were by no means a one-off occurrence, and they regularly take place between Thursdays and Sundays between midnight and 3 a.m. We're obviously not advertising for anyone interested to go, but it is what it is.
You know, like, yeah, really good, you know, so obviously to see police doing some good work, and, you know, somebody should never really attack a police officer regardless of what situation they're in. However, I just want to sort of say, you know, I personally think, you know, like COVID fatigue is really starting to set in. Remember, it's been over a year, right, of lockdowns, closures, you know, ins and outs, with no real proper explanation for what's going on. So I just want to make it clear, the health authorities have been doing amazing work across all sectors, you know, but when you're putting restrictions arbitrarily without giving a proper explanation of your decision to the public at large, this is when the public starts fighting back, right? We've asked ad nauseum Sean Mingauchi in her press conferences what's happening, why, for example, gyms have remained closed, why are restaurants opening at 5 p.m., and we've never really been given a straight answer, you know, and I think the public at large, I mean, you know, deserves answers to these questions, and I think it would, you know, I think it will help at least tensions from maybe people who are hesitant to take a vaccine, for example, or hesitant to take masks, which actually leads us to our next story. It's got to do with a protest held in Slima, along the Slima promenade, from people who are against wearing masks and against a government-mandated vaccine. So they were on Slima promenade carrying placards against vaccines, against masks, you name it, with police presence, assumingly keeping actually social distance measures and actually making sure everybody wears a mask, ironically enough. I'm not sure if anyone got fined, you know, but like, I'm not saying I'm an anti-vax or any of that. Actually, I'll gladly go take one. But, you know, I do have a degree of sympathy, you know, for people who are protesting. You know, they're hearing a lot of differing answers, particularly on the internet, where there's so much misinformation out there. The health authorities have to do all they can to make sure everybody is informed of every decision and why exactly they're taking it. I think it will help a lot. I don't know about you.
Definitely need to keep fatigue in mind. Both the authorities do, but also sort of people need to understand that we've been through this for about a year and a half now. It's the final stretch. Let's all do our bit. On to our last story. A goldfish pond in Gargour has been saved following public outcry. So last week it was news broke that an elderly man, Ronnie Gauci, had constructed a makeshift memorial in a remote part of Gargour, had been ordered to remove it. Now, if you've ever visited the area, or if you visit regularly, you've likely seen Ronnie there tending to the memorial, the bucket in hand, planting new trees, caring for the small structures. But last week, news broke that Ronnie had been ordered to remove some of the structures which did not have a permit, and had been threatened with a €50,000 fine unless he complied. The reactions to this were obviously various reactions, but I guess one of the main ones was shock at how kind of the planning authority is clamping down on a relatively kind of small makeshift, which might have been illegal, while at the same time kind of closing an eye to a lot of other seeming illegalities. Luckily, the shrine was saved as a result of the public outcry. Yesterday, Ronnie erected a new sign next to the pond, thanking the public and informing them that the pond would be remaining after authorities reversed their decision.
Just 2 points, you know, it's nice to see the planning authority listening to complaints. They didn't do so with Miriam Potch, for example, you know, ended up losing her life, and now actually there's a case in Birkirkara of a man doing the same. And just a second point I think I really need to, why does the government make mistakes and then only seeks to rectify them if there's public pressure and media reporting? I mean, it's getting a bit ridiculous. Like, we can't always be the watchdog, you know what I mean? On something like this, there needs to be a bit of common sense and learn how to handle something a bit appropriately. Let us know what you think about the planning authority's work in the comments below. That's it from us just for now. We're just going to turn to a short video. Then we're going to move on to an interview with a very special guest today, Ruth Debono, the president of the ME, CFS and Fibromyalgia Alliance, to let us know everything about hidden conditions, invisible conditions that affect people's lives, and how the government can help to address all that.
In Malta, we don't say.
Welcome back. We're here with Ruth Debono from the ME, CFS and Fibromyalgia Alliance. She's going to be speaking to us a bit about kind of what the group does and a bit about the condition. I wanted to start off with by mentioning that a very prominent activist, Josette Sherry, who has even contributed with Lovin Malta and has spoken about this reality and passed away over the weekend. Our condolences to the family. Did you know Josette?
Yes, I got to know Josette last year. Okay. She had asked about the NGO and wanted to offer her help. And we were thinking actually that she might even join the board, and we can put our efforts together to finally obtain our needs. And I was really shocked last Saturday when I realized that the same person I was really looking forward to work with was not with us anymore, and it was very hard.
Condolences to the family. So tell us a bit what you do. Let's start from here. The Alliance, what was it set up for, and just briefly kind of what it was inspired by?
Okay, the NGO was set up by myself, Rebecca, Philip, Kirkhope, and a lot of other people who helped because we wanted to get out the information and make awareness on fibromyalgia and myalgic encephalomyelitis, or as it is known, chronic fatigue syndrome. And the initial intention was to do support meetings, but then eventually we put up this NGO and things started to move forward, and we started to make proposals to the government. And eventually now we are at a place we are requesting recognition as a disability for the two illnesses.
Okay. So when you say requesting recognition for the actual disabilities?
Yes, because both illnesses are disabling. The symptoms, there are many symptoms, including chronic pain, fatigue, lack of sleep, widespread pain. I'm talking about not just one part of your body, all over. Migraines, there are so many symptoms that you live with on the same day, that they do make you disabled. So.
And for those that don't know, so is it not recognized, or is it
is recognized as an illness, but
okay.
not yet as a disability.
Okay, I see. So obviously your aim is
our aim is that we are recognized like other physical impairments. That way we can benefit and benefit from invalidity pensions and other benefits that the government gives to the physically impaired, which we believe that would help us having a normal life.
I believe, in fact, recently some of the conditions were added to the list that government recognizes yes. for sick leave, but presumably that is just the first step.
That is just the first step. It was a small step, I must say.
Has it improved? condition? I mean, would you say it's been good, not good enough?
It's never good enough. When you are living with such chronic illness, it's never good enough because the expenses that we go through, obtaining sickness benefits is not enough because not everybody works. So that sickness benefits was only for a percentage of the sufferers. We need more. We need home help. We need work from home. We need the possibility of getting refund on our medications, which amounts to over 100 a month. We need refund on therapies, which we have to go to doctors to improve our lifestyle. It's amazing how much money we spend per month to try and resemble a normal life.
And have you had any feedback on this? I mean, are you confident that you will succeed in getting there?
The fight is ongoing. We have a lot of MPs that are in favor of our argument, and I know they are working very hard to help us gain this recognition. However, due to the finances, obviously, this seems to be taking longer than we would like to.
So I was wondering if you could explain to us a bit kind of what a day in the life of someone who experiences these conditions is like. Because I mean, I guess it's something that maybe most people don't appreciate enough or don't really understand kind of what one would go through. So I was hoping you could.
Okay, so I have fibromyalgia. I don't have ME. ME is a more serious illness. The ME is total fatigue. Everything that you do exhausts you. So you need to rest after just making a cup of coffee. With fibromyalgia, the chronic pain is the most major symptom. You have a whole body pain. When I wake up in the morning, I feel like an elephant was on top of me. So when I have to wake up, I have to give myself some time to regain, your physical ability to walk, just to walk. And then you prepare yourself, you start preparing for work. In my case, I work, and you have to literally think before doing anything. So if my car is far away, I have to make sure that my shoes are correct, that I don't have high heels, that I'm wearing comfortably. The clothes that I'm wearing are not too heavy on me, because sometimes the skin hurts and the hair hurts. And you have to make sure that you have to really plan before you do something. So just a normal person going to Valletta knows that they're going to have to move, maybe walk longer distances, and they wear comfortable shoes. We have to do that on every day. Now, I would like to compare. It's not the same, but I would like to compare. Maybe people are understanding more the COVID situation. Those who fell sick with COVID felt a little glimpse of what we go through on a daily basis. So imagine living with COVID every day of your life. And I'm saying every minute, every second, day and night. And sometimes it gets bad when you feel like you're going to die. Literally, your breath goes away, your pain is so high that you want to shut down. There were times when I was trying to keep on with my day, and my body shuts down for me.
I imagine it's quite frustrating, given that you don't appear maybe to be kind of in pain, and I guess a lot of people will kind of will treat you depending on how they see you or how they think that you're feeling. And I guess in your case, you probably get a lot of people underestimating
very much
how difficult it is.
Very much so, especially for the persons who still manage to work, like myself, because everybody asks the question, "How are you?" and they expect you to say, "I'm okay." And with fibromyalgia and me, you are never okay. So I'd like to defer that question, and my answer is I'm okay emotionally, but I'm not okay physically. And people laugh at me and they say, "Is she going crazy?" And no, I'm not going crazy. I'm in pain right now. Right now? You mean right now you're in a lot of pain? Yes. Yes. No, they just can't understand it.
And how has the pandemic affected? Has it had a direct impact on both the Alliance and kind of people suffering with these conditions?
So with the Alliance, we obviously had the impact because we couldn't do the support meetings anymore, so we didn't meet. But for the normal daily life, to us, it didn't make a big difference because the people who are housebound or bedbound, They were still housebound or bedbound. The people who don't manage to work because the pain is too high and they cannot cope with it, to them it was a normal life. So being locked inside a house for a fibromyalgia and more for an ME person is a normal thing. So COVID didn't really affect any of us. To us, actually, we were saying the people are finally realizing how we live our lives, how suffering, it's total suffering, because you cannot live, you want to live and you cannot live because your illness does not allow you to. You know, you want to go out, you want to enjoy your friends, you want to go and eat at a restaurant, but your body doesn't allow you to do it.
So the Alliance recently launched a social media campaign.
Yes.
Could you tell us a bit what that's about?
Okay, so myself and Rebecca really thought about this, and we said, let's make kind of a silent protest, and we invented this challenge where we are asking the government to recognize fibromyalgia and myalgic encephalomyelitis as disabilities. And we are asking the people to support our cause, not only our members, but the family and the friends, and we are tagging people, where we do this chart which says we ask the government to recognize fibromyalgia and myalgic encephalomyelitis as disabilities, and they post a picture, add to the post with the information on the two illnesses, and tag 5 people. And we are hoping that with this silent kind of protest, let's call it awareness more than anything, we are hoping that a lot of people would ask, what are these two illnesses? Why do they need recognition? What can I do to help them out? So I've had a lot of messages. How can we help? It was very interesting.
So if there's one, let's say 1-2 things that you really want people to know, if there's something you could wish you could say, like everyone would appreciate and understand this, what would you say it is?
Everybody has a story. You cannot look at a person and you see them normally looking and you say they must be okay, they must be healthy. Everybody has a story. Everybody's carrying a burden. So please don't judge. Try to understand. When somebody tells you, I need help, give that help. When somebody tells you, today I don't feel well, try to find a way of how you can help them. Sometimes a simple hug or a simple smile or a simple cup of coffee can do a lot of things to that person.
It almost goes beyond just
yes, compassion and empathy.
Their words to live by. Well, I mean, I don't know if there's anything else that you think is
We would like to ask everybody who suffers from fibromyalgia and me to contact me and contact the NGO, because we are there to help. We give a lot of support over the social media. We have our private group where people can open up and they talk and they find another family there. And a lot of people, like last week, they told me, I finally can talk openly about how I feel, because in this group people are like me and they understand me.
The sessions happen regularly?
We have the Facebook page which is ongoing every day, but the support meetings we used to do them every 3 months, more or less.
Every 3 months, okay. Well, thank you very, very much for taking time.
Thank you for your invite.
Well, that's it from us. Thank you very much for following, and have a day full of loving.